News on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day and welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Senior Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, yesterday unveiled a $781.9 billion budget for 2023 under the theme, Improving Lives Today, Building Prosperity Tomorrow. This is 41.4% larger than the 2022 budget, which stood at $552.9 billion. During an almost 6-hour presentation in the National Assembly, Dr. Singh was keen to note that $208.9 billion in oil revenues will be withdrawn from the Natural Resource Fund to support national development priorities this year. Last year, the government used $126 billion to prop up the 2022 budget. He was keen to note that the oil and gas sector is estimated to have expanded by 124.8% in 2022, with a total of 101.4 million barrels of oil produced, compared with 42.7 million in 2021. Meanwhile, sugar, fisheries, gold industries performed poorly. Dr. Singh also disclosed yesterday that between 2022 and 2023, ExxonMobil Corporation and its partners will receive 208 oil cargoes, each carrying approximately 1 million barrels. Over the course of that period, Guyana will only get 30. Dr. Singh said that there were 102 lifts of crude oil from Guyana's oil ships, 13 of which were for the government. The remainder, totaling 89, will go to ExxonMobil. For the year 2022, he also noted that the Natural Resource Fund received $1.1 billion in profit oil. The profit oil receipts received in 2022 correspond to 11 government lifts, as the remaining 2 will be received this month. And in other news, 34-year-old Shradanand Narain, called Anand, of Seaford Street, Camberville, Georgetown, on Monday changed his not guilty plea and admitted to paying a hitman $100,000 to murder his wife, Babita Sarju, back in 2010. Narain's co-accused, 41-year-old Darrell Ponto, called the Yankee, of Broad Street, Charlestown, Georgetown, also admitted to the crime. The duo was arraigned before Justice Simone Morris Ramlal at the Demerara High Court. Their sentencing is set for February 6, 2023. And moving on, this year's budget, presented to the tune of $781.9 billion, has been criticized by the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, as void of crucial measures to grow the economy outside of the oil and gas sector. Norton said the budget is simply dead meat, noting that the fiscal plan lacks measures to improve the lives of ordinary Guyanese citizens. According to him, another issue that has not been addressed is the cost of living. He said, and I quote, "Cost of living is linked to inflation. It is well known that if you put resources into an economy without taking the measures to stop inflation, you will fuel inflation." Norton said that the government has announced a number of increases, but it has produced no measures in this year's budget to address inflation. As such, he warned that the government spending can fuel the cost of living crisis currently affecting locals. And moving on, the PPP government has set aside $43.3 billion in the 2023 budget for the natural gas liquids facility and the 300-megawatt gas-fired power plant, 2 components of the $2 billion gas-to-energy project. During the presentation of the budget, Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, explained that this allocation is necessary as it will not only deliver affordable, reliable, and environmentally stable energy, but will also cut emissions by 70%. Additionally, he boasted that this project will trigger a series of major economic developments as energy costs will be significantly reduced. And amid growing concerns about its excessive borrowing, Dr. Ashni Singh on Monday announced that the country's total public debt stood at $3,654.9 million US dollars, an increase of 16.9% from last year. For almost all of its recently announced public infrastructure projects, the government has been borrowing to finance them, despite earning over $1 billion US dollars in the oil account for last year. Delivering his budget presentation, Dr. Singh sought to allay the fears of Guyanese by claiming that the government has maintained its long-standing practice of prudent debt management. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is the news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
It seems like children have been home from school forever, and you've done baking, drawing, schoolwork, and played Ring of Roses about 100 times. We've all been under some strain lately, but let us embrace our children. They're under strain too. Let's show them more love, patience, and care. Let's help to build their resilience in these trying times. Not just today or tomorrow, but for the future. Their future.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
This is GHK Lal, inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. 30-year-old Jari Hiralalawas on Monday was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for killing Cleon Autar, his drinking partner, in 2020. The sentence was handed down weeks after he pleaded guilty to the lesser count of manslaughter in December of 2022. The sentence was handed down by Justice Navindra Singh at the Berbice High Court in New Amsterdam, Berbice. Autar was on an outing with his wife and friends who were all imbibing. The laborer went missing and his body was subsequently fished out of the canal located near the Regional Democratic Council's office in Region 6. And as part of measures highlighted in Budget 2023, Dr. Rashni Singh announced a $10,000 increase in the income tax threshold, $3,000 increase in public assistance, and another $10,000 hike for parents with children attending schools between the nursery and secondary levels. Dr. Singh announced that the income tax threshold would be increased to $85,000 monthly, commencing this year. Last year, the threshold was increased from $65,000 to $75,000 monthly. He added, as a result of this adjustment, over 12,000 persons will be removed from paying income taxes. And last Thursday's fire, which left the Christchurch Secondary School in ruins, was an act of arson, the Guyana Fire Service said on Monday. According to the Fire Service statement, Thursday's fire at the school had several points of origin. Thursday's blaze was the second fire at the school in 8 days. The first had erupted in the school's science laboratory and was caused by chemical reaction combustion. Firefighters saved the building from the burning then and removed all chemicals from the building to prevent a reoccurrence. And Dwayne Thomas, the prime suspect in the murder of local DJ Brian Pittum, also known as DJ Viper, was on Friday remanded to prison for the crime. The 20-year-old laborer was not required to plead to the charge. Thomas was remanded to prison and is expected to make his second court appearance on February 13th. 28-year-old Pittum, a father of a 2-year-old boy and an 8-month-old baby girl, was killed on January 8 by 3 uninvited guests who allegedly crashed a birthday party he was attending at Laluni Village. The young man told investigators that he chopped the DJ in self-defense. According to reports, Pittum was attacked while trying to defend his father-in-law from being badly beaten by the 3 men. The DJ received a huge chop wound to the back of his neck, right wrist, and some of his fingers were severed. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 11, we wrap things up as usual with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. Oil sales. This is the PPP's version of buy and sell. The problem is no Guyanese know who buy and how much sell. The quantity sold is a mystery. The price received is shrouded in, of course, secrecy. Looks like Exxon pulled a fast one on the PPP. Just like how the PPP pulls many fast ones on the Guyanese people. And that brings us to the end of today's news at noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.